Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we will be talking about eclipses. So the word eclipse has been derived from a Greek word which means failing to appear. This phenomena happens when the appearance of one celestial body is hindered or is obstructed because there is another body which comes in between. So this occurrence is called as an eclipse. All planets and other bodies in the space, they cast a very long conical shadow in the direction which is opposite to the source of light. So here in the solar system, the source of light is the sun, and other celestial bodies, when they come in between the earth, they basically cause or it casts shadow on the earth. Similarly, when the earth comes in between the moon and the sun, the earth casts a shadow on the moon, and this is called as the lunar eclipse. The darkest portion of the shadow which is casted upon during an eclipse is called as an umbra, and a partial shadow which is not very dark, which is surrounding the umbra, is called as penumbra. So the shadow of the earth is about 1,45,000 kilometers long. Time of full moon, the moon passes along the long shadow casted by the earth upon it. As the moon does not have its own light or is not luminous, therefore it is not visible at all when there is a lunar eclipse during a full moon, when the light or the source of light is cut off. This causes the eclipse of the moon. If the visibility of the moon is completely obscured or hindered, it is said to be total eclipse. And if the obscured part is partial or some part is still visible, it is called as partial eclipse. One lunar eclipse can last as long as 3 hours and 40 minutes. So if the moon is nearest to the earth, which is called as perigee, the eclipse will last longer because the earth covers the moon completely. But if there is an apogee, which is when the earth is farthest from the moon, the duration of the eclipse will be shorter. This is because the distance between the earth and the moon is largest in an apogee. Normally, an eclipse of the moon or lunar eclipse occurs at the time of the full moon, when the moon is on the complete opposite side of the earth and the earth comes in between the sun and the moon. But not every lunar eclipse occurs on a full moon, because the moon often passes above or below the earth's shadow at an angle of 5 degrees. If the moon would have revolved along with the earth in the same plane as the earth revolves around the sun, then at every lunar eclipse it would have had a full moon day. But this does not happen. So the lunar eclipse is also an indicator that the shape of the earth is spheroid instead of a flat shape, because it casts its shadow on the moon, which is actually curvical. Now let's talk about the solar eclipse. Solar eclipse occurs when the moon comes in between the sun or the source of light and the earth. There are 3 types of solar eclipses: total solar eclipse, partial, as well as annular solar eclipse. So total solar eclipse occurs on a new moon day when the moon comes between the sun and the earth. If their centers are in one line, or if the moon, sun and the earth are in one line, then the moon's shadow will be casted on the earth. If a person is standing at the umbra, the disk of the sun will appear to be completely covered by the disk of the moon. So the moon comes on the way of the sun and the sun becomes very dark. The diameter of the moon is 3,470 kilometers, whereas that of the sun is much larger, which is 13,84,000 kilometers. But from the earth, the sun and the moon appears roughly of the same size, because the distance of the sun is 400 times larger than the distance of the moon from the earth. The moon is much closer to the earth. Hence, both the sun and the moon seem to be of the same size to an observer on the earth, and the moon exactly covers the sun, only leaving the brilliant corona radiations from the sun's edges, which can be seen during a full or total solar eclipse. The umbra, which is produced by the moon's shadow, is only 270 kilometers in diameter and travels very rapidly over the earth. So a total solar eclipse can last very short duration of time. One total solar eclipse can barely last for not more than 8 minutes. So for this brief period of time, the total solar eclipse cuts down all the direct sunlight of the sun from the earth, and the earth which is receiving the umbra, or which is on the umbra, the part of it is basically in complete darkness. So this complete darkness scares away the birds, animals, and even human beings. Corona, which is invisible at other times, which is coming from the outer surface of the sun, is quite brilliant during a solar eclipse. So the penumbra, which is surrounding the umbra, is much larger than the umbra, which is the partial shadow region. It forms a circle of about 6,400 kilometers in diameter and surrounds the umbra. So, during a partial eclipse, we are basically along the penumbra, or the penumbra actually touches the Earth's surface. So, a partial solar eclipse occurs when the moon is passing between the sun and the earth and is not in direct line with the earth and the sun. So, the moon only covers a certain part of the sun's disk, and therefore it is in the penumbra. So always remember that do not look at the sun through camera lenses or a telescope or a binocular. It can cause serious eye damage. Instead of that, you can wear an eclipse glass or solar filters to observe solar eclipse. Annular solar eclipse. On a new moon day, the moon revolving around the earth comes between the earth and the sun. So the centers of the moon, the earth, and the sun are in the same line. Annular solar eclipse happens when the distance between the moon and the sun is the greatest during an apogee. So the shape of the moon appears to be oval instead of a circle. So during an apogee, when the distance between the moon and the earth is the largest, the moon appears to be much smaller than the sun because of the distance and does not cover the entire surface of the sun. The moon's dark disk does not cover the entire sun but only the middle of the sun. On the outer part, there is a ring of light behind the darkness of the moon. So this is called as an annular eclipse because there is an annulus, or a thin ring of sunlight which is surrounding the moon. Annular solar eclipse occurs 20% more frequently than a total solar eclipse.